friends, this week on The Ketchup, as the summer movie season heats up, we are dropping the information hammer down with everything we know about the next Thor movie. And as we head into Pride Month, all during the month of June, we'll be looking at some of the most groundbreaking LGBTQ+ characters in the history of TV and film on our show, RT Essentials. We're also going to be checking out the ultimate head-to-head battle on the show Versus, with Tessa Thompson versus Aubrey Plaza versus Sarah Paulson versus Janelle Monae. Oh my. Plus, we're going to sit down with the cast of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and through our Rotten Tomatoes Scene and Color film series, we're going to be checking in on last year's selected filmmakers. All that and so much more right now on The Ketchup, brought to you by Target. Welcome to The Ketchup, your destination for the latest news in the world of movies and TV, straight from Rotten Tomatoes. And by the way, you gotta stick around because we've also got streaming recommendations from yours truly, because I watch like a lot of stuff, and maybe I can help steer you toward your next great binge.
These hands were once used for battle. Now they're but humble tools for peace.
Phase 4 of the MCU will be bringing the thunder and spreading a little love this summer with the July arrival of the 4th film in the Thor franchise. But there's a lot that we need to figure out before its release. I already used a hammer pun. So let's take a look at everything we know about Thor: Love and Thunder right now on The Ketchup. This film will pick up after the events of Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Endgame, with Thor still trying to find his way from not-so-fit Thor to a more recognizable version of himself, while also bumming around with the Guardians of the Galaxy crew. And while we gotta believe that he will break away during the film and let them do a 3rd volume of their own thing, considering Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is due in May of 2023, the first trailer is heavy on Star-Lord and friends who perhaps help Thor in dealing with some of his issues. I mean, I need their help with making a good road trip playlist because those Guardians always have the best soundtrack.
Just look into the eyes of the people that you love.
And one of those issues is the shocking reality of a new Thor, as in someone else worthy of holding Mjolnir and harnessing its power. As we first officially heard 3 years ago at Comic-Con, the mantle will now go to Natalie Portman's Jane Foster character, an idea first seen in Jason Aaron's The Mighty Thor comics. And that story also includes Jane being cancer-stricken, a plotline that Portman has hinted at for this film. But given the presence of the multiverse in recent Phase 4 installments, plenty of online theories have popped up that her debut as Thor could have a multiversal element, which honestly wouldn't be too surprising. And along with Jane Foster and the Guardians, we know that Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie will also appear in this film, last left by Thor to rule New Asgard. Now, interviews and discussions since Endgame have hinted that at least part of her story could include the search for a queen to share the throne with. Director and co-writer Taika Waititi is also returning as everyone's favorite rock creature Korg, and Jamie Alexander is back as Lady Sif. Plus, we know that Matt Damon, Sam Neill, and Luke Hemsworth are going to be back as the Asgardian actors who played Loki, Odin, and Thor in Loki's bizarre play from Ragnarok. But hey, in the world of the multiverse, perhaps they could be a real thing from another universe who shows up to save the day. I mean, yes, please.
I will tell Father what you did here today.
You didn't do it for him. I didn't do it for him.
One name we're not so sure about seeing in this movie is Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Despite what he's been through and the events of the series Loki on Disney+, you gotta think that he'll make some sort of appearance, right? I mean, I'll take Alligator Loki at the very least. He's my favorite variant.
What did you expect?
As far as new faces go, Christian Bale is making the move from DC hero to Marvel villain as Gore, the God Butcher, who, as the name suggests, is probably going to be a big problem for the Asgardians and others. And by others, we mean potentially the Greek god Zeus, being played by Russell Crowe in what is said to be a cameo appearance. We also know that actress Acacia Sabet is listed as playing Bastet God, suggesting that perhaps the Egyptian gods that are troubling Oscar Isaac's Moon Knight on the Disney Plus series of the same name could play a role in this film. And joining Matt Damon and friends as an actor playing Hela will be Melissa McCarthy. Yeah, I kind of just realized that I buried the lead on that one, and I am sorry.
I think you're ready now to hear a little story about a girl named Megan. Girl named Megan that didn't have a very good time in high school. I'm referring to myself. When I say Megan, it's me, Megan. And I know you look at me now and think, boy, she must have breezed through high school. Not the case, Annie. No, this was not easy going up and down the halls.
Picking up with some of the ideas from Thor Ragnarok is something that Waititi has promised, which will be interesting to see now with Asgard destroyed and Thor formally renouncing his throne. But especially after all of the visuals from the first trailer, it is clear that Thor is definitely going on a journey in love and thunder. And with Taika surrounding himself with talent behind the scenes from projects like The Mandalorian, Doctor Strange, and Venom, plus calling this, quote, the craziest film I've ever done, I mean, it seems like this is gonna be quite the ride.
I need to figure out exactly who I am.
So my friends, that is what I can tell you right now. Of course, you can find more about this and other Marvel films at RottenTomatoes.com. And speaking of new Marvel films, on the way is a look at our chat with the cast of the new Doctor Strange movie. That and so much more coming up on the Ketchup. We're gonna take a look at the Scene in Color film series presented by Target. And we're gonna get an update on what last year's filmmakers are currently up to. Check it out.
Being selected for Scene in Color has made me really believe in myself.
This program really helped me challenge myself and push myself.
This really has given me an opportunity to expand my world.
It's great to know that there's a group of people who are supporting young filmmakers and actually willing to make a change in the industry.
Programs like this can break down barriers because there's a kid out there that wants to create films, but they may not see people that look like them.
When you can't see yourself, then it's just really hard to know where you're going.
I mean, how cool is that? And now we're gonna do it again. So don't forget to check back in at RottenTomatoes.com this June to meet this year's filmmakers, brought to you by Target. Okay, amigos, it is that time because there's always so much to see and discuss in the world of movies and TV. We are here to cover all the bases. So let's take a look at the great moments from some of our other shows in this week's RT Highlights. Starting with RT Essentials, where as part of our celebration of Pride Month in the month of June, we took a deep dive into some of the most groundbreaking LGBTQ+ characters from TV and movies. It's definitely worth a watch, and the good news is I'm here to bring you a sneak peek right now. Enjoy.
Why'd you call me? I told you, man. Dude came in. Yeah.
The next character on this list has such a story that it took 3 different actors to play him. I'm talking about Chiron from the Oscar-winning film Moonlight. This coming-of-age drama was written and directed by Barry Jenkins and covers 3 stages in the life of the main character, Chiron: childhood, adolescence, and early adult life. With 3 actors, Alex Hibbert, Ashton Sanders, and Trevante Rhodes, telling the story, the film explores the challenges Chiron faces with his sexuality and identity, including the emotional and physical abuse he endured growing up. This marked the first LGBTQ film and the first film with an all-black cast to win the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Well, man, there'll be 4 other knuckleheads sitting right next to you.
You don't even know.
Listen, son, listen. I'm not blaming you.
And many have highlighted the importance of its message, not just acceptance of homosexuality within Black communities, but also embracing boys who exist outside of that hardened world, and how masculinity can be expressed in many different ways. Along with Best Picture, Moonlight won Oscars for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Supporting Actor for Mahershala Ali out of 8 nominations total. And the film also won a GLAAD Award for Outstanding Film and its representation of LGBTQ characters, among many, many other awards. And after giving distinct and memorable performances as Chiron, Alex Hibbert went on to star in the Showtime series The Chi. Ashton Sanders appeared in the critically acclaimed film Judas and the Black Messiah, and Trevante Rhodes, an accomplished track and field sprinter in his younger days, appeared in the popular Netflix film Bird Box. And Moonlight, the second lowest grossing film behind The Hurt Locker to win a Best Picture Oscar, continues to be cited as one of the best films of the 21st century.
I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek, and for the rest of that list and plenty of deep dives into all kinds of topics, be sure to check out more RT Essentials. Moving on to the RT show that pits popular stars, characters, filmmakers, and more against each other in the ultimate battle for supremacy, Versus. And wait till you get a load of this episode with Tessa Thompson versus Aubrey Plaza versus Sarah Paulson versus Janelle Monae. I have to take a breath, but you heard that right. This is Versus.
Round 1, box office. The movies. We show up, grab our snacks. I'm a popcorn and diet soda man. And when the lights go down, we're dazzled, delighted, and swept up in a world of pure imagination. Especially when said film features Janelle Monae, Sarah Paulson, Aubrey Plaza, or Tessa Thompson. It's Thompson who's the odds-on favorite in this round because of that little cinematic universe from those comic picture books. In fact, Tessa is the only one of our 4 competitors that can boast about having a $1 billion grosser on the resume. Well, Avengers Endgame was a $1 billion engine until it became a $2 billion muscle car, settling in at just shy of $2.8 billion worldwide. That, kids, is what you call a head start.
That's funny.
But it's not just the MCU that gives Tessa a boost. She also has Men in Black International and Creed 2, both of which hauled in over $200 million each around the globe. The first Creed raked in $173 million, and even the lower budget independent films like Sorry to Bother You and Selma turned a nice profit. All told, Thompson's career total box office is an astonishing $4.46 billion worldwide, with a per-flick average of $446 million. Sure, Avengers and Thor Ragnarok's $850 million do the heavy lifting, but Valkyrie kicks a ton of ass in those movies, and I'd pay to see more. Aubrey Plaza is also part of a giant movie machine. You ever hear of Pixar? Those movies make Scrooge McDuck numbers, and her turn in Monsters University sets the high bar for her multiplex receipts to the tune of 743 million little kid screams. I mean, dollars, yeah. That's good enough to propel her career earnings to over $1 billion, bolstered by solid comedy profits from Funny People at $71 million, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates at $75 million, and her only other film that took in over $100 million, you guessed it, Dirty Grandpa with $105 million. Hey, whatever it takes to get an $88 million per film average, am I right? I like Funny People. That is my answer to whatever question you're asking.
Whew, I mean, that is tough. I love all of them. I can't get enough of that show. And for more head-to-head battles with all your movie and TV favorites, be sure to check out more episodes of Versus. All right, let's keep this ketchup party going with a visit to a very strange land, and I am talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We actually had a chance to sit down with the cast to try and figure out just what the heck is going on with, all of it. And the combos that we had were anything but maddening. Take a look.
Every night, I dream the same dream. And then...
So first of all, Strange he likes to fix things. He's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
He might have made some mistakes along the way, or was there no other way? Does he, going into this film, have regrets, do you think, about some of the decisions he's made?
Where do you want me to start with all of that?
Yes.
I would say no regrets. No, I think he's a character who's learning, despite his arrogance and his willfulness and ego. I think he does. He can bend. He can adapt, and that's one of the joys of playing him. You get to have some pathos and some, moments where he's properly schooled and taught that what he's done isn't necessarily the right or best thing to have done. And this is another step in that evolution. I think in Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw a man who we've got to know as someone who's transferred his ego and his skills from being a neurosurgeon to being a sorcerer who, while not being a supreme sorcerer in this version, is someone who's omnipotent and omniscient and just everything. And that's kind of held in check a little bit in that film. He all the mistakes he makes, though, are very human and relatable, I feel. Like he is someone who cares for a fellow foot soldier in the first instance with Peter, then sees him as a kid who's lost his guardian and his way in his own life and wants to give him something that can help him get back, and does it in a very cavalier, showing off way, and then it gets interrupted and everything that happens in that film happens. And then he becomes a sort of bad parent, chasing him around the city, asking for the toy back. And really hits the fan. So, but it's human.
That's a great synopsis for the
he
film.
Cares. It hits the fan. Yeah, that'll do. That should be the tagline. Basically, he cares. He does care. And he cares for people outside of his own existence. Yeah. And we all make mistakes when that happens.
Yeah.
And
Sam's talked about, and it's been confirmed, I'm not trying to get spoilers, but that you play at least one version of Strange in this film, whether it's a dream, whatever it is. For you as an actor, do you approach that character as a totally new character, or do you springboard off what's existed in
Look, I think if it's still me playing Strange, however different the circumstances, it's important to understand that there's some kind of origin point that's the same. So that's why it's me as the same actor. That's why I think it feeds into our understanding of our Strange. You see these other characters in whatever moments you see them having made choices that result in different outcomes. And I think that's what the multiverse as a storyline is great at reflecting of our own lives, the sort of multiple selves we contain, the different roles we are always playing in our lives, and how our choices affect the outcomes of our lives.
Was there one particular aspect of either going deeper into the Strange character we know, or something that you got to play that was fresh, that was particularly exciting for you, that you can talk about?
All of it, I would say, because, you know, it's great to have my own outing, although it's a very crowded marquee. There's a lot of story and a lot of characters in this. It's not all about Strange.
Your name is on the title.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's what am I saying? Yeah, no, you learn a lot about him through what he goes through, but also seeing these other versions of him. And I think that evolution is important. It keeps people engaged with him. And that's what's rich about him as a character. Yeah, he's snarky and arrogant, and we kind of vicariously enjoy that sometimes. But, you know, he's also knocked down to size, and he's also taught. He also is evolving.
This is kind of a two-parter, but how long would you want to play? You've sort of talked about how this is the tip of the iceberg. It's only scratching the surface because the multiverse is blowing everything
just opening up.
How long would you want to play this character for in other iterations?
I don't really want to put a time on it, but I don't feel like I'm in the middle or the beginning. I just don't know. I'm having a really good time. I'm having a really good time being your Doctor Strange, and I enjoy it. And I left this film going, oh yeah, I can't wait for fans to see where he's got to here, but I'm even more excited as to where he goes next. So, you know, I'm still game for it if you guys are.
Would a series be interesting? Do you think it would be?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's nice to have the kind of work I do outside of this, and I think a series, obviously, as a time commitment, is almost as big as a movie.
Yeah.
And when it's your series, you're, as Lizzie will tell you, on all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Sam.
Yeah.
I know you were a fan of the original Spider-Man films. What aspect of those films did you love? And what sort of nuggets that are very Spider-Man-esque did you, sitting across from him? I know you've done a funny impression of him as a director. Sort of like, what sort of freshness does he bring to this story?
I mean, fans of his of old will love this. There's a lot of nostalgic Sam Raimi touches in his delivery of moments of horror, the kind of schlock horror element of it, the fun he has with gore in inverted commas. Who knows what that means in the multiverse? You'll find out. And also jump scares and all the other traits of horror movie making, and also the darker tone as well. And he handled that, as well as the complexity of the characters and the situations, with real clarity and ease. But the thing I learned most about him was he's just so amenable. He's such a great collaborator, brilliant first audience. He always wants you to try things and skew the script and come up with new ideas. And he's so humble. I mean, to a fault sometimes. He had to kind of remind himself that he was directing a big film.
I thought you were going to do an impression.
Oh, God. Well, you set me up for a fool, but, you know, he's like, you know, I'm going to... So, in the thing, Strange is here. And then this bus comes from him, and you cut it like a buzzsaw, like, and then it falls into two halves. I feel so cruel doing an impersonation of Sam. It's not fair.
In another multiverse story, you're playing him.
I'm playing him. All right, yeah. And he plays Strange. I'd love to see his Strange.
I think we all.
I have actually seen his Strange. I mean, you know, that's the thing. He's so animated, and he will give you a whole breakdown of the scene, and he just can't help but sort of do it and play it out, all the parts. He runs from one place, runs back to the other, you know. But he's a dear man. I'm very, very fond of him, and I think he's handled everything that's been thrown at him coming into this franchise late, this particular moment of it, and in the MCU so brilliantly. And it's very much a Sam Raimi film.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was fun.
Ah, what a great cast. And of course, check back here for more interviews with the stars and creators of all your favorite movies and shows. I mean, what can I say? We have access. When it comes to what I've been really into lately, I have to start with Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty on HBO Max. The show follows the lives of the 1980s LA Lakers and takes a look at a team that literally defined the 80s both on and off the court. This show is such an Adam McKay special, so if you're a fan of Adam's style like me, you are going to love it. It has a mix of genre-bending elements, and the pacing is fantastic. And also, John C. Reilly as Jerry Buss is just really hard to look away from. Also, fun fact, they had such a hard time finding an actor who could play Magic Johnson, so much so that they almost didn't make the show. But get this, it has already been renewed for season 2. You must watch this. It's a slam dunk. Another show that has been appointment viewing watching for me is The Kardashians. Now on Hulu. I mean, I will never not be keeping up with The Kardashians. We've been following their lives since 2007, and there is never a dull moment, which is so impressive in itself because if you tuned into what I did in a day, I mean, you would change the channel in 2 seconds. This season, we get to see how Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson met, Kourtney got engaged to Travis Barker, and Kylie is pregnant again. And also, the opening shot of the first episode is pretty stylized and will suck you in within seconds. And while you're on Hulu, if you haven't seen The Dropout yet, I highly recommend. I mean, I would tune in for Amanda Seyfried's performance alone. So it's the story of former Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes, who was convicted of criminal fraud, and Elizabeth would actually lower her voice to be taken more seriously, and Amanda does an uncanny job portraying her. It has got Emmy nomination written all over it for Seyfried. Highly, highly recommend. Well, my friends, that was fun. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of The Ketchup. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Be sure to stay tuned to the Rotten Tomatoes channel for more of your favorite movies and TV, and for scores, recommendations, and more. Be sure to check out RottenTomatoes.com. I am Naz Perez, and I'll see you next time.